Alonso coming through to complete lap 69 then.
Very lonely as he enters the last lap there. It's been a lonely race, hasn't it? I mean, he romped off. He had a 15-second lead after 5 laps. And he's pretty much had nobody around him the whole race. Had the comfort of an extra pit stop available to him at any time and still not losing the lead of the Grand Prix. And Fernando Alonso then faultlessly, we haven't seen him really anywhere near a curb or anywhere near a brake lockup. He's just been, because of not been under pressure, of course, particularly either. Been doing the lap times and not been cruising. They've not let him have it easy. He's certainly driven away from them at the front.
Well, he took pole. It looks like he's going to take victory. The only piece of the jigsaw, the grand slam, if you like, he's not going to get his fastest lap. That goes to Juan Pablo Montoya as things stand, but pretty much everything else has gone Fernando Alonso's way in the second half of this weekend. His father is an explosives expert, works in the quarries, blowing up rocks. And Fernando Alonso certainly had an explosive impact on Formula One in this, his first season with a competitive team. Started out with Minardi a couple of years ago, took the testing role at Renault as a build-up to this. And Fernando Alonso wins his first Grand Prix, and he becomes the youngest man ever to win a Formula One Grand Prix. And what a remarkable weekend for the young Spaniard.
Well, that's our 8th winner of the year, and of course he's lapped so many of these cars. Whatever happens now, Michael Schumacher cannot pass Jarno Trulli. So Schumacher is nailed back there with 1 championship point and 8th place. Trulli 7th. Their race is over because they were a lap behind. There's really not much of a squabble on this final tour from the other players. Montoya should maintain 5th. Raikkonen has gone over the line for 2nd. And there, Montoya takes 3rd, Ralf Schumacher 4th, and a bit down the road, Coulthard will come through in a comfortable 5th place. Really a bit of an adventurous afternoon. You have to say Ralf Schumacher was pretty mighty, wasn't he, into that new Turn 1. He established better and earlier than anybody else that there's a lot of grip in there, and he even overtook his brother down into that corner as David Coulthard then takes that 5th place, and Mark Webber's 14 seconds behind him for 6th.
Was an interesting little cameo there. You saw Montoya as he came across the start-finish line. He was punching the air. He was almost as happy about this result as Fernando Alonso was. He knows how enormously significant today has been for him. It was very important on a day when the Michelin tyres were again expected to have the edge over the Bridgestones that he capitalised. He has picked up 6 points. Michael Schumacher, who was leading the World Championship going into this race, has only picked up 1, and now Montoya is a point behind him, with Raikkonen, who finished 2nd today, a point behind Montoya. Fantastically well poised World Championship, and a fantastic story.
Well, there are a lot of fantastic stories. 8 winners in a season. Not since 1985 have we seen that many. And a reminder that Alonso is the youngest winner since Troy Ruttman back in 1952. Troy was 22 years and 80 days. Fernando, 22 years and 26 days. That is indeed counting the Indianapolis 500 as a Grand Prix, which it was in those days, a World Championship round. If you don't want to count the Indy 500, then throw in Bruce McLaren in 59. There are the recap results. An extraordinary race with a lot to talk about. We'll take a break, come back with more. Well, it's not often you see Michael Schumacher lapped in a race when there's not an obvious problem with his car. That man did it, Fernando Alonso, as we join them on the podium. Critical podium, this, in terms of championship points. best result for Renault as a team this year, Neil, and they were a very clear fourth in the Constructors' Championship going into this round. That's much clearer now, but it fits in with Flavio Briatore's prediction that they wanted to mix it with the top three at least, even if they finished fourth in the championship this year.
They did that in no uncertain terms tonight. The car just looked sensational. Curious as to why Trulli was nowhere near the pace though, but this bloke was just on it. The car looked fantastic, and right from the start he launched off the line and he was gone, just in a race of his own. Beautiful pit stops, all three of them were executed with perfection. And this points score story is sensational, not only for the Drivers' Championship but also for the Constructors, and I'm sure we'll go through that in more detail shortly, but it's just going to bring this championship alive with now just 3 races to go. Incredible pressure. Boy, Bridgestone are in trouble, aren't they? They really struggled out there today. You know, there was discussion pre-race that they may be okay in racing conditions, but that just proved to be not the case at all.
3 rounds to go. That has to be a big concern. Testing to resume, of course, in about 5 days' time. That will be an absolute frenzy of activity as they try to salvage this championship, and a good salvage operation from Ralf Schumacher today too, incidentally.
What about the frenzy of activity from Williams today? I mean, how many times did they have nail-biters? Just a shocking start for both drivers, and they'd be very disappointed in Ralf spinning early in the game, and then that technical glitch we think with Montoya towards the end. Though I should think that Patrick and Frank would not be happy with their lot this afternoon, particularly when you look at the speed of the cars with Montoya setting a fastest lap.
It was a Ferrari-like performance, even though it was of their own doing. They managed to dig their way out of it a bit and still keep it open. We'll be back with more after the break.